Welcome to Sunny Day Stamping. My name is Julie Baca. Sign up for my email list to receive free project sheets and updates on sales. Today's card is a Z-fold card. Have you ever made one of these? I had not, and I am addicted. It goes great if you have an image that is kind of long and narrow. Let me show you how to make this. Isn't that so cool? It's also like way easier than it looks. It's just two long strips of paper folded and glued together. Now you could use this layout for so many different stamp sets, so use what you have. I'm going to be using Sailing Home and then the coordinating die set that goes with this, and you can see that it cuts out all these images really well. Now if you don't have die cutting, don't worry, you can cut this out by hand. This you could just cut into a little rectangle, and for this piece, let me show you what you could use instead. So that steering wheel is actually cut out with this die, so there's no way you can do that freehand, but in this stamp set, there's just a circle that you could stamp and cut out really easily and tuck it behind there to get that same look. At the end of the video, I'll show you some other examples that I made using this same layout. For my other supplies, you just need a card base that's 11 by 4 1/4, scored at the 5 1/2 mark and the 2 3/4 mark. This piece is a 10 by 2 3/4, scored at 7 1/2 and 4 3/4. I'm going to show you a trick on how to cut that. Then you just need white cardstock to go on all those pieces. These are all 2 1/2 inches wide, and this is 4 1/2, 2 1/2, and 2 1/4. I've got all these measurements over on my website, so don't worry about that. You can also get a free project sheet by signing up for my email if you'd prefer to print out all those measurements. You're also going to need a scrap piece to cut out your steering wheel. And I'll just show you. You can see I've used this multiple times. And when I use it, I don't throw out my cardstock. I file it in here and put it with my other cardstock so I don't waste anything. I put a link up in the description of a video I showed detailing how I organize my cardstock. Then you need just a piece for stamping your die cuts. So I want to just give you a little hint on how to cut this narrow strip. So you're going to take your large piece of cardstock, having the 11-inch length this way, and you're going to cut it at 2 3/4. Use this for another project. Then you're going to extend out the arm of your cutting trimmer. I love that you can extend this out. And you're going to trim off 1 inch here. So I'm going to line this up on the 10. Save this little strip because that's what we're going to cut our sentiment out on. Now we're going to score this at 7 1/2, and I love that the paper trimmer has a score blade on it. And I just run over that a couple times. Make sure your cutting blade's at the top so you don't slice your card. I did that. I always do that. I say don't do that, but I do it. Okay, and then again at 4 3/4. So now to fold your card in that Z pattern, you just fold it in an accordion. So you're going to fold it like this. Then you're going to take this other score line and fold it back on itself. So you can see that is the same. Crease these down really well. Now you're going to do the same with your large one, but this has the short piece on top. And then I'm going to fold this down. So it's going to look like that. Now to set all this out of the way, and we are going to work on this part. You're going to want to use a blending brush to create that beautiful sun coming out of the corner. So I'm going to use crushed curry for this. You can choose another color, and you just ink up your brush. And I always dab a little off on my paper. And then I'm going to go in a circular motion like the sun is beaming down this way and create like a nice circle. But then now I'm going to do, that was with pretty light pressure. Now I'm going to use some dark pressure or deep pressure to make it a deeper color here in the corner. If you don't have these blending brushes, they are fantastic. They come in a pack of 3 for like 12 bucks, and you can rinse them out in between uses, but like I use this one for blues and greens, this one for reds and purples, and this is yellow, and I think I use orange on here, and my browns and grays. So and then I don't rinse them off, and I just keep them like this. Now let's set this piece aside for later, and now let's do our die cutting. And I'm a dork. I think I was showing you the wrong example card this whole time. So let's cut out these 2 pieces. So just take your scrap piece of basic white, and I'm going to use Night of Navy to stamp my lighthouse. And then I'm going to take the small boat. There's also a big boat too, and I'll show how I use that in a different example. So I'm just going to use the dies to cut these out. You can cut them out by hand, but I do have a tip for you. I get real frustrated using my die cutting when it cuts out like this. When I've stamped it, but then it cuts wrong. I like it to be perfectly centered in the middle of there. So all I do is take some tape, just a tiny piece of that painter's tape. We'll hold that on there, or if you have washi tape. And I reuse this because it's actually better when it's not very sticky. And I just stick it right up there at the top. This is fine that it's floating around there if it stays centered. I'm gonna go run these through my cut and emboss machine. So when you're done cutting them, just pull off that tape, and I reuse it. Even when it's like that, it'll stick plenty good. Now grab your sentiment and that little scrap of paper that we cut off at the beginning. So run these 2 pieces through your cut and emboss machine. Okay, so now we're just going to create this image right here. So I'm going to put my wheel up here, and I'm actually going to just tape it with a little Scotch tape. You could glue it too. And then we'll take our glue and glue this sentiment on the front. I'm just going to put a little glue here that's going to go over my lighthouse, and then a little glue here because I've tried not to get it to get all over the place. And then I just move it around until it's where I like it. I'm going to set that aside. So now let's finish stamping these pieces. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get ink on it. And I'm going to take this sentiment, set sail in the direction of your dreams. And I'm going to we'll work on this one right now. Stamp that right in the center. And we're going to use some little seagulls here. And let's put some over in the sun over here. I'm using early espresso. Did I say that already? Okay, and then because that's the color of the wheel, the early espresso. Now I'm going to take this compass and I'm going to put that in the corner here. Isn't that beautiful? These are the distinctive stamps, which means they just have a ton of like detail. All right, let those dry for just a minute, and then we're going to glue them onto the narrow strip. So if you're watching right now and it is January or February of 2022, Celebration is going on right now. So for every $50 that you spend, you get to pick something free out of the Celebration brochure. It's such a fun time to purchase supplies because you get extra stuff. You can order all that over on my website, sunnydaystamping.com, or there's a link down in the description. All right, now grab your little sailboat and just put glue on one side because I want this to hang off the edge a bit. So it looks like it's sailing onto my paper. And now take your main focal piece, and I'm going to pop mine up with dimensionals. So I'm going to put 3 down the center of the lighthouse, and then 1 more on this banner here, which, yeah, good. A regular dimensional fits. These do come in smaller. Now I'm going to orient this over to the side. I want this hanging off. I just think that looked so interesting. All right, before we attach this to our card base, I'm going to show you how to decorate a little bit on here. You're going to fold it flat, and I liked using the rope, and I'm just going to create a frame that goes around Oh, I was just gonna say, don't do that. This image, the rope is actually short, so I try to put my rope off the paper so it looks like it's wrapping around, and that bugs me that I can see that the end of the rope there. Sometimes I'm such a perfectionist. I need to get over it. There, see how that just creates a very subtle frame. All right, now you'll keep this base folded and grab your narrow piece, and what you're gonna do is, you can see how that fits in there, right? So we're gonna put glue just on the top right here. I'm not even going down to that fold. And then I'm gonna center this on here, but I need to open this up. Whoop. I need to open that up just a bit so it'll fit. There. Now I'm gonna center that up, and I'm smearing glue all over. Man, when I was practicing this, I was way more cool about it. All right. Now, before I press that down completely, like I just did, I keep doing all the wrong stuff. What I meant to say was, before you press that down, don't bump the camera, and also make sure this is straight. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Now, you're going to fold this whole thing back, and you're going to put glue here. And then I just fold this closed. Don't press it very firmly so that you can open it up and make sure it's straight. So mine is not, so I'm just going to adjust it there. The beauty of liquid glue. Then I'll fold it closed. Make sure it's going to stay. Oh, I'm like messing it up. Oh, maybe that's crooked. There. Okay, now when you get it where you like it, press it. So now when you go to give this card, you can lay this flat and write something right here. Okay, I want to add just a couple details to make this card special. I'm going to add a stamp to the back. This set also comes with this really cool anchor, so I want to use that. And of course, we've got to decorate the envelope. So I'm going to grab my lighthouse again. Put some little birdies. I'm going to use just the early espresso for that. And let's flip it around and do something on the flaps. Let's see. How about we take our rope and that same framing that we did on the inside of our card, let's put on the envelope too. Gosh darn, I did it again. Don't do that. All right, here's the card that we made, and here's another one I made using that same front, but used some different elements out of that Sailing Home stamp set to create this. Same thing, this is the thanks out of that Sailing Home stamp set, and I used the big sailboat, and I also used my blending brush and used a little bit Night of Navy down there at the bottom. This one, I changed up the color scheme. I used Night of Navy, and I used my blending brush to do Night of Navy and a little pool party there. And then this is Smoky Slate, and used some different elements out of that Sailing Home stamp set. I also, I don't know if you can tell, I used the compass to decorate the blue background. Oh, this little rope comes in that Sailing Home die set. It's so cool. Now in these next two examples, I used the Biggest Wish to make some happy birthday cards paired with that Sailing Home stamp set. So I used Soft Succulent, and then sailboats along the back, both the big and the small sailboats. And then Cherry Cobbler with Early Espresso and a happy birthday. Anchors in the background. So here's the two happy birthday. Just by changing the sentiment, I mean, this would make an awesome Father's Day card. If you liked today's video, give me a thumbs up. It really helps. And also, if you'd like to see more, you can subscribe and hit the bell button to get notifications. Thank you so much for watching. Have a sunny day.